In the start of this manga, we see a boy is getting bullied. He thinks, "At my school the delinquents had their eyes on me, so I was always bullied. And I hated myself for it. I didn't have the courage to fight back. I hated the bully just as much as my pathetic self. I hated the people who turned blind eye to it as well. I always wished for a chance to redo this life." So, saying that, he goes to sleep. In the next moment, he finds himself somewhere else. There is a girl who calls you Boy Messiah-sama. Takaru is shocked and tells them that his name is Takaru, not Messiah. He thinks that when he got summoned to a different world, he thought this was a chance. This alternate world had an existence called a demon world. The people suffered because of it. He didn't think he could put his life on the line to fight the demon lord. However, a person like myself who couldn't defy bullies. We see he is finally able to use the magic. Girl who is teaching him, her name is Edelweiss and she is a saint. She is very happy after seeing him finally using magic and tells him that he is moving forward. Takaru thinks that even so, that this time he could persevere. He wished to accept himself in this alternate world. He did persevere. He did his absolute best and defeated the Demon King. But the result of that, we see Takaru is captured and sitting on the execution table. They are calling Takaru a monster and are about to execute him. They make him wear magic-selling braces so he can't use any magic. The executioner tells the people that they are executing Takaru because he is from another and holds the power to defeat the Demon Lord. So they are taking precautions by killing him before he betrays humanity and destroys the world. Takaru thinks that he is being treated like a beast, let alone getting recognition. They ask him his final words. He couldn't say anything in this mess. Everyone is shouting to kill him. They are about to cut his head. Edelweiss appears there to stop the execution, but she can't do anything alone. Takaru is happy after seeing her because he wasn't able to get acceptance in Japan or in this world, but at least one person shed tears for him. He's sure that his life must have been a happy one. They cut down his head. After that, we see Takaru is in a hospital. He slowly opens his eyes and realizes that it's not that world, but a hospital in Japan. First, he thinks that he came back, but can't believe it because he died just a moment ago. He concludes that there's no way those 3 years were a dream. He says that it's pointless to think about something that he can't understand. First, he needs to confirm his situation. When he sees himself in the mirror, he finds out that this is not even his body. He falls down from the bed. Then he realizes that he's got several bone fractures. Then he tries to use magic that he learned in another world, Recovery All. As the name suggests, this is a healing magic, and it works. He gets up and says that his pain is now gone. He thinks that the fact he can use magic means that wasn't a dream after all and says, "What if I'm dreaming right now?" One girl that seems to be Takaru's new body's mom appears there and hugs after seeing him. First, she asks how he can wake up because he had fractures all over, and asks him how he is moving. Takaru thinks that she's the mother of this body's owner, and the other guy is a doctor. Takaru tells them a lie that he lost his memories because he can't tell them about the bullies. They tell him that he fell down from the school's roof while he was playing with his friends because the fence broke. They ask him if he remembers his name was Kusanagi Takaru. His previous name was Yamado Takaru, and this body's name is Kusanagi Takaru. He tells them that he remembers his name. Doctor still can't believe that he heals so fast and said that this is impossible even for a proficient healer. Takaru thinks that even though this isn't another world, there are healers. Takaru's dad appears there and hugs him without any second thought. He is relieved after seeing that his son is fine. He says that even though Takaru doesn't remember them, he's just so happy that he's alive. After getting so much love, Takaru thinks that you've been brought up with a lot of love. Takeru doesn't get what's going on here at all, but he will find a way to give you back your body, so please wait a little while. In the end, they did all sorts of tests on him, and the results all showed that he's very healthy, so he was quickly discharged. The technology back at the hospital seemed more futuristic than the one he knew. But since everyone speaks Japanese here, it must be Japan. Even still, there's a cleanliness to the city that he's not used to seeing. Back when he was in Japan as Takaru Yamado, it was the year 2000. There is a TV where a news reporter says, "It is time for the news." Today marks the end of May. The hot spring of 2040 is about to pass. The hunters are risking their very lives to protect our everyday lives. Takaru is completely stunned and thinks, That's an ogre? And even goblins? Why are they wreaking havoc here in this world and not that other one? What are hunters? He has so many questions. His dad says that the hunters do some incredible work, and he wants to become one as well. Takeru's mom scolds his dad, saying that he is too clumsy and will die in no time. They see hunters are fighting with monsters in front of them. Takeru sees them and thinks, they're fighting using magic as if it's normal, even though it's Japan. It resembles that world. Some crack suddenly appears in front of them. They get scared. Dad tries to stop the car, but it's too close. Takeru suddenly uses guard protection to save his family. Dad is shocked after realizing that he doesn't get injured. Mom and Takeru are also fine. Takeru sees that crack-like thing and thinks that he's seen this in that other world. It looks like a summoning skill. Something is coming out from that crack. These are ogres. Takeru sees them and thinks that an ogre is a monster that even the kingdom's trained knights needed several of them to take one down. An ordinary person wouldn't stand any chance against it. But if it's Takeru, he can make quick work of it. People are running around, trying to save their lives from these ogres. Takeru remembers the days of his death and thinks that the nail that sticks out gets hammered down. Not to mention that this body belongs to Kusanagi Takeru. It's not mine. If he stands out in some weird way, then when he needs to give this body back, it'll spell trouble. And he doesn't want to be afraid anymore, so he decides to run. But when he turns around, he sees that his parents are about to get caught. Takeru uses his magic and kills that monster in one strike to save his parents. Mom and Dad are very scared. Takeru asks them if they are okay and tells them that a nearby hunter came and defeated it. Let's quickly get away. Takeru sees the monster and thinks, so, I ended up using my power after all. I'm glad I was able to save these two, but the problem is that, after my attack, there was an attack by someone else. It really could become troublesome. That attack was this hunter. They are walking home because their car broke. But they are relieved because there were no casualties even though it was such a big incident. They are standing in front of their house. Takeru's mom tells him that this is his home and welcome him. Takeru is in his room and thinks if he has to spend his time as Kusanagi, then he needs information. He did a once-over, but he can't find any diary. He was hoping he will get something good like, but instead he found a book about hunters. Takeru read that book and thinks, there's even a ranking system, a special report. It's as if they're celebrities. There is a note in one page where Kusanagi wrote that if he was a hunter, he would have loved to join this guild. After reading that, Takeru thinks it's a weird feeling. I'm in Japan, but it feels like I'm not. I've spent 3 years in a different world, so I'm kinda used to strange things. He finds a mobile and is very shocked after seeing it, because he's not familiar with it and it's hard to operate for him, but he decides to learn it. Takeru decides to use it, but he thinks that the cost of using it too much will be massive. Suddenly he gets a message. Takeru gets shocked after hearing that voice. He get more nervous than fighting the demon lord when I know that this uses Takeru's parents' money. Using facial recognition, he opens the lock. This is a message from a Kusanagi's friend Araki. He says that because of Kusanagi doing suiciding attempt, police even came to his house and he'll never forgive him. After reading that, Takeru remembers his old days. Araki says to him that once you come to school, I will make sure to give you an even greater time than before, so make sure you look forward to it. Akira sends him an image. Takeru gets angry and asks Akira to not send him images randomly. Think about the cost. Takeru's mother tells him that he can use the internet how much he wants because they have Wi-Fi. Takeru isn't familiar with the word Wi-Fi. His mom tells him that she did knock, but she just wanted to let him know. It's very difficult for him because of amnesia. That's why he doesn't need to attend school for a while. Takeru thinks, since I am in a similar situation to Urashima Taro, I used the time off to look up various things on my smartphone. 30 years ago, after I got summoned to the other world, gates connected Earth to another world and monsters started spilling out. Monsters started killing people. Modern weapons didn't work on these unknown beings. However, out of nowhere, magicians appeared and started fighting the monsters. The magician began to pass it off as a skill that anybody could learn. Magic became an essential subject, and people started defeating monsters. Those who studied magic became known as magi, and those that defeated monsters are known as hunters. Their roulette became dealing with gate breaks as well as the protector of our everyday lives. While walking, he enters a market road. There are so many shops. Here people use magic for little things. While walking, Takaru thinks, society has really adapted to magic. Something so otherworldly, it still doesn't feel real to me. This world differs greatly from the one I know. It's been 40 years, so people got used to it. It's not like I want to return to my time, but it feels a lot more lonely than I thought. Suddenly, someone snatches a girl's purse. He runs away from there saying they are so slow. Takaru sees him and thinks that he is using magic to escape, and he's running faster than a bike. Takaru uses physical boost magic. He suddenly appears before the snatcher and grabs him from the shoulder. Takaru says to him, "If you're trying to run using physical boost, then be at least this fast." Takaru returns the purse to its owner. They are thanking him. Little girl says that it is her first time seeing someone running this fast using a physical boost. Takaru thinks, so that was too fast. I'll be more careful next time. Grandma gives him some candies as a reward. Grandma tells him that she wants to thank him properly, but he don't want that. So take the candy. After seeing her, Takaru remembers his grandma giving him candies as a reward for massaging her shoulders. Takaru thanks her and takes the candies. He is walking by himself and thinks, even if 40 years have passed and a lot of things have changed, the fundamental aspects have remained the same. And he's glad for that. He decided to go back because it's completely dark now. Someone tries to attack him from behind, but he easily dodges his attack. That boy says, "Aren't you glad you were able to dodge it by a fluke? Although I would have been more glad if you didn't ignore my texts." Right, Kusanagi. So this boy is Araki who was texting him. Takaru remembers his message and says, "Araki." Araki gets angry and tells him that it's supposed to be Araki-kun. Takaru thinks, so these things don't change. No matter the era, no matter the world. While Araki is shouting at him, he thinks, I see Takaru also has this problem. Even after 40 years, there are still guys like this around. In the past, I was afraid of guys like this to the point that I couldn't do anything. But, honestly, fighting dragons in that other world seems scarier compared to that. Facing Araki feels like. Takaru sees Araki just as a little dog. Takaru smiles and Araki asks him, "What are you laughing at?" Araki tries to attack him. Takaru sees his punch coming and thinks, what to do? It would be simple to send this guy flying, but I also want to avoid being flashy. I guess I'll make him fall over by stomping the ground. Araki says, "Giving birth to a guy like you is a mistake. Your parents too." Takaru gets angry after hearing that and hits him in the face. Takaru asks him not to badmouth his parents. Araki angrily gets up and is about to use his magic to attack Takaru. Suddenly, a gate appears behind Araki. Monster comes out and attacks Araki. This attack throws his Araki, and he hits the wall, making him very injured. Takaru sees him and thinks, he isn't dead. It seems I don't know if it's because he's a boxer, but he's pretty sturdy. Now then, there are no passers-by and Araki's out cold. But it's not like I can spend that much time on it. I'll end this in an instant. Takaru uses a physical boost and defeats the monster with just one punch. Takaru sees the mess and thinks that it ended up being a scene of horror. Well, it's okay. It's just Araki. More importantly, this gate. I can't just leave it, but Takaru destroys the gate, but police appear there while he does it. Hunter Girl says that she can't believe it, to take down a bloody ogre in one hit. Officer tells her that it was already like this when they arrived at the scene. She says that the gate is also closed. At the scene, they found a boy that had collapsed, but other than a few bruises, nothing unusual. It seems like he was fighting with a classmate here. Arake tells them that he beat the bloody ogre. Girl thinks that it's not possible for him to defeat the bloody ogre because he doesn't have that much mana. Girl tells Officer that she'll be returning to the Hunter Association and asks Officer to send her report later. This girl's name is Sakura. Many people appear there and says that she is so cute and she became an S rank at very young age. Sakura ignores them and thinks, a bloody ogre is a very dangerous monster that needs several A-rank hunters to deal with it. Faster than me, who was dispatched from the Hunter Association. They defeated the monster and closed the gate. She concludes that in this town there's a hunter stronger than her. We see Takaru is eating food with his family. This is my first manga recap. If you like it, then subscribe to the channel and like the video. Complete 100 likes for part 2.